Welcome guys back to another video in the channel. We are doing another episode of Premier League predictions. Sorry guys if it is a bit late today. I've been very busy with videos and with a lot of work as well, so sorry guys about that, but let's get straight into it. Here are the FPL leaders so far, and yeah, congratulations to whoever is top. I don't follow FPL too much, but yeah, I think it's just the luck and a bit of fun. So yeah, here are the leaders for that. So let's get straight into today's Premier League predictions. First game we'll be predicting is Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. Now Chelsea, Chelsea were very lucky in their last game, drawing 3-3 to West Brom. They obviously went 3-0 down at halftime, which is again very surprising. Chelsea, with the money they spent, with the expectations on their shoulders, going 3-0 down to West Brom, it's quite disappointing in my opinion, and a lot of pressure was put on Frank Lampard, because if they lost that game, a lot of pressure will be put on him very early on in the season. But again, looking at Crystal Palace in their last game, Crystal Palace obviously after beating Manchester United, they played a game against Everton, which they actually lost 2-1. Everton being very good. We'll go on to them in a bit, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored in that one. Shiko Kouate equalised for Crystal Palace, and Richarlison scored in the 40th minute to seal a win for Everton. But Crystal Palace were alright in that game. A lot of positive signs, but more negative signs. But again, it's Everton, rejuvenated Everton side with a very good manager, so you sort of expect to lose those sorts of games, and I don't think Roy Hodgson will be too mad with that. But again, they beat Manchester United, so that confidence in them will still be flying high in this game against Chelsea. Maybe Roy Hodgson knows how to do it against the bigger teams. He's quite an experienced manager. He will know how to take down Frank Lampard, put a lot of pressure, and the likes of Wilfried Zaha will be very key in this game for Chelsea. But yeah, I still see Chelsea winning in this one. Werner hopefully getting on the score sheets in my FPL, and again, why is Werner playing on the left wing? Who knows? But yeah, in this game I'm going to give Chelsea a 3-1 win in this one. Next game in the Premier League is Everton versus Brighton. Now, this is where we get to talk about Everton, because they have actually been phenomenal, haven't they? Them rejuvenated midfield. When people say wins, matches are won in the midfield, people are not wrong, are they? And Everton, they proved that against Spurs, dominating that game, especially dominating in the midfield, as I just said. And they did the same against Everton. They no more goals after halftime, so they just used their midfield, used their dominance on the pitch, and just saw out the game very well. Something Arsenal need to improve on, if I say so myself. And yeah, Everton will be a team that will be one to look out for. Their attack is very good with Calvert-Lewin. I think he's quite underrated, to be honest. And Richarlison as well can be very good on his days. But their defense, I think, needs a bit of work as well. But if they can bring a centre back in, I think they can most definitely challenge for Europe this season. But looking at the other end of the spectrum in this match day, is against Brighton. They lost 3-2 to Manchester United. Again, thing is with Brighton, they played so well against Chelsea, and then Manchester United, they played so well, and they got so unlucky, obviously conceding after the final whistle. Penchester United calling them. But yeah, well, that was pretty funny, to be honest. And yeah, again, I think Brighton are playing quite well, but getting very unlucky with the results. But to be fair, their fixture list hasn't been kind to them whatsoever. But they will be going into this game with a lot of confidence. Again, it's going to be Everton. It's going to be a very hard game for Brighton to navigate. Their signings haven't been top class either. Lallana will help them to an extent, but him alone won't overly help them, and it will have to be a tactical masterclass from Graham Potter to get them over the line against Everton. But I can't see past Everton, unfortunately, in this one, which is why I'll give them a 2-0 win in this one. Next one is a very big one, and it is Leeds United versus Manchester City. Leeds United have been very entertaining, I must say, so far in this league campaign. In the last game, they won in the first game, they lost to Liverpool 4-3, then they beat Fulham 4-3, and in their latest game, they actually won 1-0, getting past Sheffield United with a 1-goal differential, and that came in the 88th minute with Patrick Bamford sneaking out a win for Leeds to get them away from Bramall Lane with a win. And again, Leeds United look very positive this season with a lot of good signings, and I think Leeds United, they're a team that they're here to stay. That's what they're trying to do, and they're up against Manchester City. No better team to do it other than Manchester City. They look very positive, I thought, against Liverpool, and they can cause Manchester City some problems if they can force some mistakes out of them, get a few goals, maybe nick an early one, try and park the bus maybe, then you have a chance against Manchester City. And I think Leeds United will go into this with confidence. Man City just signed Ruben Diaz from Benfica, very good signing for them, will really improve their team. Don't think you're coming for this one, but again, you can't see Man City in this one, but I will give them a 4-2 win, because Leeds with big games, they score a lot of goals. Last of these Saturday games is Newcastle versus Burnley. Now, firstly, we're going to look at Newcastle. They opened the league campaign very strongly with a 2-0 win over West Ham. And then moving into the second match day for Newcastle, it wasn't as great, losing 3-0 to Brighton. Yeah, I can't say much about that, can you? But looking at their latest game, they actually drew 1-1 to Tottenham, played very poorly against Tottenham, but still managed to get a point out of that game. You know, I think Steve Bruce will be very happy to get the point out of that game, especially when they played so poorly against Tottenham, and I think that will bring some confidence into this game for them up against Burnley. Burnley again doing not so great, losing the last game 1-0 to Southampton, and then before that Burnley actually lost 4-2 to Leicester City. So again, it's not been the greatest start for Burnley, but they were hoping to be rectifying this against Newcastle. But I just have a soft spot for Newcastle. They score a lot of goals. Burnley, I think they still need a striker in my opinion. I think maybe they could go after one in the remaining time of this window. Harry Wilson, they have been linked with, is very good as well, and I think they could go after him. He'd be a very strong addition, but I think Newcastle will win this one. It's going to be a tight one. I'll give it a 1-0 win. Next game is Southampton versus West Bromwich Albion. Now again, very interesting game in which I think West Brom wouldn't have stood a chance before this game, especially, you know, when they had such a torrid start to the season, conceding 3 goals in each of their first 2 games. But again, a very good comeback, and against Chelsea, so unlucky they didn't come out with the 3 points. I thought Slaven Bilic was going to guide them to the win against Chelsea, but Frank Lampard came firing back at Slaven Bilic's men, and again, they conceded to the quality West Brom, and I think that's their problem. They do concede a lot of goals, and I think especially with Southampton having such a prolific striker in Danny Ings will really help them out. But I think this could be a high scoring game, just for the fact West Brom concede a lot, but they can score a lot on the other end of the pitch. Looking at Southampton's last result in the Premier League, for Southampton, it actually was a 1-0 win against Burnley, which again give them quite a bit of confidence coming into this one. But again, I do think this is going to be a draw. This has all the elements for a draw, so I will give this one a 2-2 draw. Next game is Leicester City versus West Ham. Now, one team that's had a very good start is Leicester City. In their last game, they won 5-2 against Manchester City. What a result for them. I watched that game and they were absolutely exceptional, and they are top of the Premier League table. Nandez one is telling me they could be challenging for the Premier League, but we'll have to see about that. And I think bringing in Cengiz Ünder, Wesley Fofana coming in, they are spending money and they're spending it big, and they really want to go big this season, especially when they're in the Europa League. Competing on 2 fronts is really hard sometimes for clubs, but I think Leicester City want to go after both leagues, both trophies, and I think with the squad they're building, they will be able to do so. Last game for West Ham was against Wolves, and they won 4-0. What a result for them in a game where Jared Bowen scored 2, Raul Jimenez got an own goal, and Sebastian Haller added to Wolves' commiseration. But again, that wasn't a great result for Wolves' side, was it? But that would give them a lot of confidence, especially after such a good performance against Arsenal, and they got very unlucky in that respect. But again, they will be going into this game with a lot of confidence because of that West Ham. But again, Leicester City's quality, I think, just gives too much for me, and I will give Leicester City a 3-1 win in this one. Next game going into 2 p.m. kickoffs is Arsenal versus Sheffield United. This is always such a hard game for Arsenal. They always struggle, but Sheffield United, they do not look the side they were last season, do they? They haven't been in great. First game of the season, losing 2-0 to Wolves, and then moving into the second game of the season, they lost 1-0 to Aston Villa, and then moving into the third game, they lost 1-0 to Leeds. So yeah, moving into match day 4, they don't look like the favourites against Arsenal team who, you know, wants to get the early goal, wants to get the first goal, they will just come at you. And I really worry for the Sheffield United side. I just don't think they've added enough. I know why. They've kept most of their core, you know, they don't want to just blow their core out the window. I get all that, but I think you need to add quality if you want to stay in this league, and I think Sheffield United, they've not done that in this transfer window so far. Still a few days left, but I think Arsenal will win this one. But I will do a separate preview to this game, but I just want to talk more about Sheffield United side, because in my previews I talk more on the Arsenal side. So yeah, I think Arsenal will win this one. I'll give my score prediction in the match preview. Next game in the Premier League is Wolves versus Fulham. As I said, with Wolves, they would want a lot of they want to rejuvenate, because that last game was very grim for them. Losing 4-0 to West Ham wasn't great at all for them, was it? But looking at the other end of the spectrum, it is Fulham. Fulham, obviously the newly promoted side, and in their last game, they lost 3-0 to Aston Villa. Wasn't a great result for them. It's not been great for them since they came into the league, and they sit rock bottom of the Premier League on -7 goal differential, so they will be looking to fight back. But against against Wolves, who are trying to come back on the comeback racing again, especially when they lost, it's going to be very, very difficult for Fulham, and I do worry for them. But in this game, I'm going to give Wolves, why do I keep getting them confused? Wolves a 4-1 win in this one. Next one is the biggest of the match day, and it is Manchester United versus Tottenham Hotspur. Now, this is a huge game in the Premier League. Just to quickly touch on the last results, Manchester United beat Brighton 3-2 after Bruno Fernandes scored after the final whistle. As you guessed it, a penalty, and Marcus Rashford scored before that. Lewis Dunk got an own goal as well, which did give Manchester United a 3-2 win in that game. Very unlucky for Brighton in that respect. But Tottenham, on the other hand, they drew 1-1 to Newcastle in a game they really should have won. They got very unlucky with VAR, but what can you do? It's VAR. You can't really challenge it, can you? But I do think Manchester United could win this one, to be honest. I think they have a bit more quality than Tottenham. When's Gareth Bale coming back? I think he's injured. Reguilon didn't look the best in their Carabao Cup win over Chelsea. But I do think Man United will sneak this one. I think it'll be a very tight game, and I think they will win this one 2-1. Last game is Aston Villa versus Liverpool. Liverpool in the last game, they won comfortably against Arsenal, a 3-1 win on the Monday night. Again, this is before we're playing them in the Carabao Cup, so let's see what team they go with that one. But they're playing Aston Villa, who actually haven't conceded a goal yet in the Premier League. And guess who's in goal? Guess who's in goal? Yes, you guessed it. Emi Martinez, the one we sold to them for £17 million, and he hasn't conceded for them yet. So they will be going into this with a lot of confidence. And in their last game, Aston Villa, they won convincingly against Fulham 3-0. And again, it's going to be, I think, more of a tight game than a Liverpool just straight up winning, even though I do think Liverpool will win. But I think it won't be easy for them. Really wouldn't be. They'll just sit back for Aston Villa with their brilliant goalkeeper. I think Liverpool could struggle. But I still do think Liverpool will find a way. They always find a way. So I will give this one a 1-0 win for Liverpool. So thank you guys so much for watching my Premier League prediction. Sorry for the mic issue. I just don't have enough time to record on my mic nowadays. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for bearing with that. Hopefully you like my predictions. Leave yours in the comment section down below. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.